Hey everyone, Blugoblin here. Thank you for joining me for my comic book review for the official ending of March 2015. I really apologize for being late. And no, this is, if you're watching this on April 1st, this is not an April Fool's joke. I am just really late. Once again, I've been working some mad overtime at work, and I finally found the time to sit down and do this. Not to mention doing my review of WrestleMania 31. Go check out my Blugoblin X channel. It should be up by now. Me and my good buddy Norman Meklikoff, we decided to, we reviewed WrestleMania 31. Now, was it a memorable show or was it a forgettable show? Go check out the review and see what we thought. Shameless plug for myself. Got a pretty big stack here. So let's just go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with the indies, and then go to the big two, DC, and then end it off with Marvel. Now, when we get to Marvel, we're going to do things a little differently, and I'll explain why when I get there. We're going to start off with IDW. We're going to start off with Jem and the Holograms, #1. You are not seeing things. Yes, I actually bought this. I actually bought this, and I was intrigued. I wanted to give this a try. Now, I will be honest. I didn't really watch the original cartoon in the 80s. I had friends that did, both boys and girls, who watched the cartoon. I just never got into it. I was a G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Transformers, Ninja Turtles kid. I never was a really big fan of Jem, but I wanted to keep an open mind. I wanted to give this a look, and this actually wasn't bad. I actually thought this was pretty good. Kelly Thompson and Ross Campbell. First of all, the writing was actually pretty good. The artwork, the interior artwork was really good. It had an anime-ish kind of feel to it. It had like a modern, it was like, it looked like a modern tribute to the 1980s, and I fucking loved it. I thought it was great, and this cover is just beautiful. Now, what's going on here is that Jem, under her, let's see, hang on. I want to say, is her name Jenica? Or Jerica, okay. Jerica Benton, aka Jem, and her band, the Holograms, they're rehearsing for a big gig, and she's just overcome with stage fright. She just chokes under pressure. She can't perform in front of anybody, not even in front of a little camera crew that's on lunch break. She can't even perform in front of them. And her sister Kimber and the other two bandmates are trying to talk her into, hey, buck up, grow a spine, and, perform with us, because we really need you, and stuff like, excuse me, stuff like that. Another twist that I saw in here, not until the very end of the book, when they were introducing all the characters and giving the stats on them, is that Jerica's, Jem's sister Kimber is a lesbian. Okay, I think I read a report saying that they did that on purpose to, as a means of stretching out character development. And if you're going for it in that sense, then I'm all for it. But in here we are introduced to Synergy and the instruments that make Jem who she is, and how she's able to, control these holographic powers and everything. This was actually a solid beginning issue. It did what it needed to do. It introduced us to all the characters. This is very, 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 very new reader friendly. If you never saw the original cartoon, if you never watched it when you were alive, if you never watched it when you were living back then and you just skipped out on it, or if you're too young to remember about it, then I suggest you pick this up and give it a try. It is new reader friendly, and I'm glad I picked it up. I thought it was a solid introductory issue. I'll give it a 3.5. Alright, moving on to Dark Horse and Dynamite, we're going to Conan Red Sonja, #3, The Age of War. In this, we learn that Conan is, shifting through emotions and everything, and there is a brief sexual encounter between the two of them. I know, big surprise, right? But it kind of goes against the whole no man will ever lay with me unless he bests me with a sword shtick. I didn't see Conan best her with a sword. I guess she was just horny. But then again, it is Gail Simone. Gail Simone and Jim Zub are writing this. And y'all know I'm a big sucker for Gail Simone. I love most of the things she writes. Still Contempt. I still stand by what I said about Sensation Comics featuring Wonder Woman. Her particular run on it, I wasn't really that impressed, but almost everything else that she does is really, really good. And this was no exception. We learned that Conan is infected. Minor spoilers here. He's infected with that blood root that they thought they dealt with. And they run into the guy who conjures the blood root. And he's like, well, I got something I need to tell you. And what he does with Conan and Red Sonja is he really hits them both where it really hurts. And I'm not going to spoil everything. I'm not going to say what exactly he does. But what he does to Conan and Red Sonja, it forces their hands on each other. So by the end of the issue, they're battling to death. But there's a very, very specific reason why they're doing it, and I'm not going to give that away. I thought this was a solid read, really high on the drama, really high on the action. This was amazing. I really did love it. This was great. I give it a 4. Moving on to Red Sonja number 15, Gail Simone, Walter Giovanni. God, it seemed like it took forever for this issue to come out. But man, was this worth the wait. This was awesome. You got Sonja. She's, you know, her and her companions, she is desperate. She needs shelter. She needs comfort. She needs healing. She's sick. She's weary. And we find out she brutalized herself. At the end of the last issue, she promised that she would never wield a sword again. And the way, oh my God. Little spoiler here. We see her hands in this issue. Or should I say, what's left of them. She mutilated her hands to keep herself from drawing a sword. And I mean mutilated it. The skin is burnt off, and literally all that's left is bones, bony fingers, and skeletal fingers. That's it. She burned the flesh and nerves and everything off of her hands. She basically has no hands in this issue. Yet I love how Gail Simone writes this, proving that Red Sonja is still a force not to be fucked with even when she doesn't have any hands. This was really good. And by the end of the issue, all she had to do to fight that curse that she was cursed upon was simply believe in herself. It was so simple, it worked for me. Yeah, I can agree with some of the people who might think that's a bit of a cop-out, that all she has to do is just dig deep down and just say, I forgive you. But, you know, it's like, just how true was this curse that she was cursed upon? Was it a legitimate curse, or was it simply mind games? That's how well this was written. It made you think either one could possibly make sense. This was really good. Fucking a phenomenal read. I love this stuff. This was awesome. I give it a 4. Alright, moving on to DC. Starting off with Aquaman number 40. This was good. This is the conclusion of the Maelstrom storyline. You know, Arthur's trying to get through to his mother at Atlanta, or fuck. But he's trying to get through to her, and she just refuses to accept it. She's really convinced that her beloved Arthur did indeed die and everything. But one thing I will say, thank you, DC, for once again letting Mera shine. Mera. Just so fucking powerful. So fierce. So dangerous. So fucking sexy. Shit, she's fucking awesome. Okay, enough of that shit. But wow. But by the end, little spoiler here, Arthur's mom learns the truth and she finally accepts it. And the issue and this storyline ends on a shining note, and I thought it was a great issue. Thought it was a great read. Jeff Parker, God bless you. You're doing an awesome job with this. Keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to seeing what you got planned for after the convergence is over, or if you're still going to be on board with this. I give this a 4. Moving on to Batman 66, number 21. Jeff Parker again. This was alright. This was alright. Face to face with Lord Deathman. Robin doesn't play that big of a role in this issue. It's mainly Batman and Batgirl. And of all places to go, they go to Japan, I believe. And that's where they come face to face with Lord Deathman. Long story short, it's your basic lost episode of the Batman TV series. And I thought it was done very well. It served its purpose, and I had fun with it. No, not really any complaints about it. It's not meant to be taken seriously like the Harley Quinn series and the Squirrel Girl series. It's supposed to be books like this that are supposed to remind you that comic books should be fun sometimes, and this is a good example of that. I give it a 3. Alright, moving on to Batman and Robin number 40. This is the sort of conclusion to the storyline in which Robin has these superpowers after being resurrected, and I'm gonna spoil it. Robin's powers drain out in this issue. By the end of the issue, Robin's back to normal, and all I can say is, thank God. I'm not going to spoil how it happens, but it happens. How it happens was actually really good. Batman had a plan, and it worked. Yeah, so it would seem. But all I can say is, let it be legit. I was not a fan of Damian having these superpowers, knowing what a prick he can be sometimes. It could have only led to disaster in terms of writing and storytelling. I didn't have any faith in it if they were going to keep going with it. I'm glad they dropped it for now. Hopefully they're dropping this particular angle permanently, because I wasn't really feeling it. And by the end of this issue, I can honestly say, thank God. Now let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to what makes this book good. However, with that being said, this was not a bad read. I enjoyed it for what it was. I give it a 3.5. Moving on to... oh my God. Folks, oh God. I gotta say... The Flash, number 40. I believe this is my pick of the week, guys, because, wow. Castle Flash. Jesus Christ. And then, okay, the storyline with Castle Flash, dealing with Overdrive and everything. And then we got the stuff with Barry stuck in the Savage Speed Force and everything. We found out the true nature and the true motivations and the true plan for this guy who's trying to help Barry get his speed powers back. It ends in disaster, but in the end, the whole Castle Flash angle is resolved. But there's a bittersweet price to this victory for Barry. I'm not going to ruin what that was, but all I can say is... that's gonna hit you right there. But then, oh my God, the cliffhanger, the last page. Shit. I did not see that coming. I can't, well, no, I'm wrong about that. I kind of saw something like that coming, considering what one of Castle Flash's last statements was in this issue. But... Jesus. Wow. Just do yourselves a favor and just pick this book up. I can't say anything else because I don't want to ruin this. I don't want to give anything really big away. But all I can say is, God damn, what an issue. This was awesome. I give this a 4.5. Moving on to HeMan The Eternity War, number 4. Yes, this happens on the cover. She-Ra and Hordak go head-to-head, toe-to-toe, sword-to-sword. And man, this was good. Also, something else that's going on in here is that He-Man is gaining respect from some of the Snake Men. They're recognizing him as King Adam of Eternia, and they're showing respect and you know, saluting of friendship, you know, and everything like that. And this is really good. We also learn what's going on with Teela, the sorceress. We also learn about, you know, more about the powers of Grayskull and everything. But man, the thing that really sells this issue is the fight between Adora and Hordak. And it gets nasty. It gets brutal. And then by the end, oh my God. Of all the people to do, of all the characters to do a run in, damn. Just damn. This story has just jumped up another notch, and wow. Just when you think it couldn't get any more awesome, it gets more awesome. This was amazing. Really, really good stuff. This came damn close to being a pick of the week for me. This was really good. I give this a solid 4. Fucking awesome. We're ending DC with Red Lanterns number 40. This is the final issue of Red Lanterns, and it's going to be a real shame to see this go. The world will burn. This is basically Guy Gardner accepting the fact that sometimes people need to be angry. He's trying to take all the anger out of the world and, you know, harness it for himself and just let everything go. And he realizes that he can't exactly do that. Not much to say here. You know, Walker and California, they do a good job with what they got, with what they give us here. But all I will say is it was a solid ending to a solid series. And it's going to be sad for it to go, but we'll always have the memories. This was a great read. I give it a 3.5. All right, on to Marvel. We're starting Marvel off with Amazing X-Men number 18. This is the conclusion of the once and future Juggernaut. You have the okay. For those of you who didn't read the last issue, I'm going to spoil something. The new Juggernaut is the living monolith. Picture Juggernaut about 800 feet tall. Oh yeah. The living monolith's Juggernaut costume looks badass. It really does. But instead of the X-Men charging in, fighting off and everything, what they decide to do is just sit around and talk to each other. You know, reminisce, and then, you know, as they're doing this, I guess they're in here thinking of how they can stop, you know, how they can stop this new Juggernaut. But I also felt like they were kind of like poking, the writers were having fun with this, kind of poking fun, having the X-Men poke fun at themselves. You know, Storm and Bobby are like calling out Colossus on his so eager to martyr himself. He's like, you're martyr prone. And Colossus is like, I am not. And it's just really kind of funny, you know, which is kind of weird in this issue, but I liked it. It entertained me. But by the end, Colossus reaches out to Sidorak, the Being, not the Gem, not the Juggernaut, but Sidorak himself. He makes a deal with Sidorak, and it's going to end it right there, because I was expecting something and got something completely different. This was awesome, really good, a solid ending to this. All I can say is, damn, this was good. I give it a 4. Now, before I get to the next one, I gotta say, the next book I have is on my tablet, and I'm reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy number 25. And, let's see. Shit, my tablet's dead. But my bro, Chris, TheMtVernonKid, sent me Guardians of the Galaxy 25, the digital code, and I read it on the Marvel Comics app, and that's why I'm reviewing it like this. And it is Chapter 7 of the Black Vortex storyline, and that issue was really good. Really, really good. But at the same time, it's still, that particular issue still has the vibes of, you know, heroes versus heroes and stuff like that. But by the end of that issue, Nova Nova has the Black Vortex and he's trying to get away with it. I thought Guardians of the Galaxy 25 was a great read for what it was. It was really good. Just really good stuff all around it. I give it a 3.5. Now, we're moving on to Nova number 28, chapter 8 of the Black Vortex. I usually review books in alphabetical order. I'm reviewing this under B for Black Vortex because, you know, the titles are all fucked up. But Nova number 28, this is part 8 of the Black Vortex, and in here we can see what Nova's been doing ever since he got away with the Black Vortex mirror. And brilliantly, he decides to hide it in his bedroom back at his house on Earth. Certain someone, the Collector, shows up to collect it, so to speak. But then Nova does something that he thinks is the right thing to do, but it turns out kind of backfired on him, and by the end of the issue, spoiler here, Thane, the son of Thanos, submits to the Black Vortex. This was a pretty good read for what it was. The artwork was a bit cartoony, but I liked the storytelling. I liked the direction it was going in and everything. Not to mention that, you know, the stuff that happened in Guardians of the Galaxy 25, you know, with Beast, Angel, and Gamora possibly deciding to help the Guardians and the X-Men, because now we're finally getting somewhere with this. I give this a 3. And that takes us into Legendary Starlord number 10. This is chapter 9 of the Black Vortex. Finally, this is starting to feel like a Guardians of the Galaxy and X-Men team up rather than a rivalry. I'm liking where this is going. This is finally starting to feel right. You got Spartax, the citizens and the planet of Spartax encased in amber. And it's something that Thane does for Mr. Knife. And some of the Guardians get there to find some of the heroes, Kitty Pryde encased in amber, but because of her mutant power, she's able to phase out of it. And Kitty and Peter Quill, you know, Starlord and Kitty get even closer. And by the end of this issue, you're starting to see everything build up. The Guardians and Beast, Angel, and Gamora are starting to click together again. And finally, this is going in the right direction. The direction I think it should be going into, where we have two teams of heroes teaming up against a common foe, which is what this should have been throughout the whole show. But this here was actually not that bad. I like where this is going. Let's just hope Marvel doesn't fuck this up. I give this a 3.5. Okay, we're going on to Daredevil number 14. I said this on Twitter as soon as I got done reading this book. Mark Waid, you are probably the only writer who can write Matt Murdock acting like a douche and making it work. In this issue, Matt decides to take a whole new lease on life. In his life as a lawyer and as Daredevil. He has decided to adapt the Daredevil persona pretty much 24/7. He now has a new look. He is pretty much Daredevil all the time. And instead of the spandex suit with the little horns on it, he is now in a full-blown red business suit with the cane and with a DD belt buckle, and he is Daredevil both as a lawyer and as a hero. And as a lawyer, as you know, Matt Murdock, when he's supposedly Matt Murdock, he kind of acts kind of douchey, kind of, you know, all of a sudden just out of nowhere accepting this celebrity-like lifestyle. But when he acts like Daredevil, it still looks like Daredevil. So I'll give credit where credit is due. And Mark Waid, the way he writes this, he does make it work for me. Meanwhile, he finds out something about the owl. He runs into the owl's daughter, and I love his line. It's like, how many more of my old arch enemies have grown kids? I feel old. But there's something that that they learn about somebody that's supposed to be working with them, and it leads to a really great cliffhanger. This was a great issue, a good read, really good. I give it a 4. Moving on to Darth Vader number 3. Kieran Gillen, oh my god, this was good. Gave my bro Chris, TheMtVernonKid, I gave him the digital code for this book, and hopefully he enjoys it. but we're starting to see more and more of Vader's plans about what he wants to do. It's kind of like, you know, Secret, you know, it's just really, really good. He's even activated his own droids. He's working with a new ally in here. You're starting to see this meticulous planning from Vader and everything, and he's still got this smarky ass attitude. You know, he is the Sith Lord and everything. This was just a fun read. I loved it. It's really good. This is a welcome treat for any Darth Vader fan out there. If you love Darth Vader is one of your all-time favorite villains, not just in Star Wars, but just in general, just villains. And I think this is a series for you. This is really good stuff. I don't want to give too much away because this is just really good shit, even though we know where this is going. We truly know, but we're supposed to read this like we don't know, and that's... I say try reading this pretending you don't know where it's going. Try pretending you've never seen Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Pretend you haven't seen it, and it might add a certain more of a feeling to this series. This was really good. Solid read. I give it a 4. Then we go to another book that could have been Pick of the Week worthy. Miles Morales, The Ultimate Spider-Man, number 11. Jesus. You want to talk about drama? You got it. This was amazing. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm not going to spoil anything. This was fucking awesome. Solid 4. That's it. I'm not saying anything. That was great shit. Moving on to Nightcrawler number 12. This is the epic finale to Chris Claremont's Nightcrawler. I gotta say, I just wasn't feeling it. I really wasn't. Because Claremont found a way. I don't know why. I don't know why I feel this way. I can't explain it. But Claremont found a way to take a series that started off phenomenally well. It was just going beautifully, and by the end of the series, coming up towards the end, it started to fade out for me. It's like once Nightcrawler died in this series, and just Claremont just decided, no, he can't die, bring him back right now. It's just like, then this turned into a Claremont fan fiction where nobody's allowed to fucking die, and everybody's supposed to, you know, just be successful and just be naturally good at everything they try. It just, by the end, it just wasn't clicking with me anymore. That doesn't mean this issue was bad. It's just when a great writer writes something mediocre, it comes off feeling like a bad issue. It really does. You know, picture if Gail Simone wrote something that you believe to be mediocre. Wouldn't it hurt just a little bit if you believe if somebody like Gail Simone or somebody like Chris Claremont or somebody like Brian Michael Bendis or somebody like so many people's beloved Jeff Johns, if they wrote something that came off feeling mediocre, wouldn't it hurt just a little bit more than some writer who's trying to be good or trying to get up there wrote something that was just as mediocre? Wouldn't it hurt just a little bit more if a well-known writer did something like that? You know, I don't know how. I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. But this was all right. The series ended with just all right, and I feel like it should have ended with something better. I give it a 3. Moving on to Uncanny X-Men 32. Bendis Botchlo. What I will say is, if Bendis continues to write Cyclops like this, I may slowly stop calling him Dick Summers and start to slowly get back into calling him Scott, because finally he's starting to accept some responsibility for his actions. He has sent all of his students off to the Jean Grey School. Him and Emma have decided to break up. And there's a little line in here, I think it was meant to be a joke, but I hope it's legit, that Emma's teasing going back to the Hellfire Club as the White Queen. And I say this, do it! It's where she needs to be. She needs to be a villain. She's a horrible hero. Make her a villain. It suits her better. Fucking bitch. But in here, it's basically Cyclops and Havoc talking with each other, and Dick Summers Summers basically, you know, sums up that he explained what his idea of this mutant revolution was to him. He goes into great detail about it, but as also he wants to accept responsibility for his actions, but at the same time he kind of doesn't, which is why I'm still calling him Dick. It was what it was. A decent read at best. I thought it was good. I'd give it a 3. Maybe a 3.5. I'll be nice. We're ending this review with Wolverines number 12. All I can say is, Fox, Anedito, this was solid. This was good. Finally, they have figured out how to deal with Fang. And all I can say is good, because I'm starting to get a little tired of this character. This whole, I can never be hurt, I can never die shit. It's getting old. It's not just with Wolverine-related storytelling. I'm talking about just comics in general. It's starting to get a little old. It's like that kid that you play superheroes with outside, and it's like you hit them with everything, or you go LARPing with somebody, and they're like, invincibility, I cannot be killed, I cannot die, and ha 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 ha. You don't want to play with somebody like that. You don't want to see characters like that all the damn time. And when you see characters like that, some people like them, but I'm not really a big fan of that. And they find a way to deal with them, and I thought it was really good. And the stuff with Lady Deathstrike in here was also really good. But the ending of this issue... what? Whatever. Good luck with that. This was good. This was good. I liked it. I give it a 3.5. That's all I got for this review, everybody. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Please subscribe to this channel, Blugoblin01. Don't forget my Blugoblin X channel. Like I said, I did a review of WrestleMania 31. I also do my Midtown comic stashes there. Speaking of, giving my bro, TheMtVernonKid, some love. Also some love out there to my old buddies Deadpoolzilla and Brandon Hex. Don't forget, Jennifer and I, we got Arkham Asylum Studio as well. Look for me on Twitter at Blugoblin01. Look for me on Tumblr or Pinterest or even Facebook. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I am Groot. I'll see you later.